Yes.
as well.
With respect to the water in Cayon, Bede, I see something going around that the former administration is responsible for Bede. That is so laughable. They stopped Bede from working. During the campaign, we said that we will resolve the water situation in Cayon. Again, the reason why we have such a bad water problem is that one, no new developments were taking place with respect to water. Bede, which is a drilling company for water, had been stopped by the former administration. They stopped Bede from working and sought to bring in another company. As a result of that, nothing was done for 7 years. Now we have climate change hitting us, and we are going through one of the worst droughts in our history. People are feeling the effects of the lack of water. And I feel for the people of Cayon. I feel for the people of my community, St. Peter's. We go through a lot. It's challenging. It's difficult. I have asked for their patience. We have sent the fire truck. We have sent the water truck. We continue to send the fire truck. We continue to send the water truck. We have just signed a contract to purchase water storage tanks. So at least when the water truck goes, they have a larger receptacle to store the water. People are having serious challenges. And that is why we took the early decision to get Bede back on track. Bede was a bit delayed because the equipment was just there doing nothing. Of course, you had some deterioration, and they had to get back the machinery up to scratch in terms of carrying out its work. Bede, in a quick time, has found water. They have gone down over 500 feet. They have hit a good well thus far. The initial studies have shown that the water is potable.
Okay.
They are now going to do another 72 hours because there's a series of testing you have to do. So the preliminary has been good. I am praying, keeping my fingers crossed. I'm asking the nation to pray as well. The community of Cayon and St. Peter's, who will be so relieved to pray that after the 72 hours, using the World Health Organization standard, that this water will be declared potable. The well has revealed more water than we expected. The initial studies show around 400 to 500,000 gallons per day. The testing now shows we have between 700 and 1,000,000 gallons per day. So we have one big blessing thus far. Well, two, the preliminary testing shows potable water. If the last testing shows that,
What's the next step?
the next step is to prepare the well and connect it to our water supply system.
How long do you anticipate that?
According to the experts,
taking?
2 to 3 months.
Okay. Okay.
So by Christmas, we would resolve that issue. And it has a lot of water down there. But while we are doing that, we are still working at it. We have backup. Let's say this doesn't work. It's not the end of the day. Because we're going to bring on, at the end of this month, another 300 to 400,000 for Marriott. And then we are going to build a desal plant, which will supply us with 200 billion gallons. So we have backup after backup because we are determined that the country must have water. That is where we are spending our money. Water. Saving the banks. Securing social security. These are things people may not see day to day, but if we neglect them, we will quickly recognize that our country can be in dire straits. So we had to act. So Bede has done that. So we are waiting now. So I'm waiting until the end of maybe this week, next week. And to this end, I want to thank Minister Maynard and his team in the Water Department, Cromwell and his team, Kurt Carty, who I call a lot and is working hard, who is a senior person in the Water Department, and all of them who work in the Water Department. I wish I could have called all of their names for what they have been doing because this has been extremely challenging. I would also like to thank Mr. Ashley Allers because he's the one who brought the idea of how we can help with the storage receptacles that we're going to launch just now. That took a little bit longer because I had to go through the procurement process and so forth for transparency and so forth. But that is another matter another aspect that we have brought to bear to deal with the issue in terms of getting larger receptacles. And when we have more water, those will be set up completely so that people can have proper storage and do water harvesting and so forth. So this is part of our sustainable island state where water has to be accessible. You can't build a sustainable island state and don't have water. Water is the most basic of things you can have. Without water, you died very quickly in about 3 days. Without food, you take about 2 weeks to die. So it means, therefore, the most basic of everything: air, water, food. And therefore, we are making sure that we take care of the water aspect. So I want to thank BEAD. I want to thank Mr. Isaac, Rawlinson Isaac, who is from Cayon, who is one of the members of BEAD. And he has really been doing tremendous amount of work to make sure that we can get water. So a lot of people are involved. So I still ask for the patience of the people, but I know how challenging it is. It must be for them. Mm-hmm. And I really, 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 really share the pain of their people. There's nothing. Can you imagine you reach home from work and you turn on your tap and there's no running water? I mean, that is somebody messaged me from Cayon last night. They said, Dr. Joy, reach home. 2 days the water is not running from the tap, but we send around the water truck. But imagine, they want to have a shower and they can't have a shower in a modern country. Mm-hmm. We can't allow that, and that is why we are investing so heavily to bring water to the people.